Hey, my name is Cameron. I'm president of the Econ Association. I know that a lot of students have trouble finding jobs, as well as just figuring out what they exactly want to do. And so we've interviewed some of our alumni about their experiences, as well as any advice that they could give. So without further ado, let's get started.
I'm Daniel. I'm a recent graduate from UAH. I majored in economics and computational analysis with a minor in finance. And now I am set to, in June, go work as a project manager for a healthcare EHR system company called Epic Systems.
Okay, so my name is Eziriki. I'm a Sanjo. I studied economics and computational analysis at UAH, and then I had a minor in communication arts. And currently, what I do is I'm a business analyst at an investment management company called PIMCO.
I'm Sebastian Robach. At UAH, I majored in Econ and Finance with a minor in math. And currently, I'm in my second semester of a Master's of Applied Economics at Johns Hopkins.
My name is Maddie Klosmeyer. Went to UAH from 2016 to 2019. I was a double major in Econ and Finance. And what I'm currently doing is I am the commercial strategy manager for Diacero USA, which is a binational steel company. It's one of the largest steel companies, wire companies in Mexico. And I kind of lead their economic forecasting process, and then also determining like market conditions to kind of prioritize where sales should be, what our strategy should be given a certain time frame.
So I've worked for a couple different companies, such as Lowe's, and then my most recent work experience, which was being an operations intern at DHL Supply Chain.
So outside of UAH, I had an internship with the same company at doing the same role. And then within UAH, I had like a lot of different roles. I was a resident assistant, and then I was also a research assistant for two professors, one in my sophomore year and then one in my final year for Professor Mahalingam.
During my time at UAH, the main internship was in financial planning. I did that with a financial planning practice in Huntsville. They were affiliated with Raymond James. Just did general financial modeling, so selecting funds, evaluating funds, that sort of stuff, and got a fair bit of client interaction, which turned out to be more fun to me than I maybe thought at the start.
And I knew I loved economics, and I guess this is where your question is stemming from. I didn't know if I could get a job in economics. So I did finance as a backup, and I did a banking internship. Hated banking, couldn't do it, was not for me. But I kept finding that any type of research application or like economics based like problem solving, that always like kept me engaged. So from there, I tried my darndest, and that's why I like stacked a lot of research and internships, is because I really wanted a position in econ. But it is hard to get a job in economics just as an undergrad. So I cast a really large net. I didn't care where I was going to live. And I found a consulting company in New Hampshire called ITR Economics. And I worked there for 2 years, moved up there, pandemic hits. Didn't really get to meet anyone in New Hampshire. I was only there for 2 months before everything kind of went to remote. But it was great because I was the lead researcher on all things COVID. So that was like a huge opportunity for me to like get my feet wet and do research. And then I wrote company reports. And then a year in, I switched into a speaking role. And that's actually how I got my job now with this company. Is they were a client of mine. I had like 40 to 50 clients in consulting, industrial, energy, manufacturing, even some like service-based companies as well, like IT companies, and I would do their company. We would do their company forecasts and give macroeconomic presentations.
To be honest, I applied for a couple hundred internships, and DHL just happened to be one of them. And they just happened to be one of the ones that let me in, and I liked their offer. And so that was more just happy coincidence. And the role that I am about to go into, I was actually suggested it by a friend.
I know a fair bit of people that have gotten internships, but all of them that I've talked to at least told me that they kind of went out and got them themselves. And I think that's kind of the key mantra you have to follow is if you really want to get an internship or you want to have a work experience that is meaningful to you, you have to kind of find it yourself. You have to go out, you have to network, you have to be active, LinkedIn, message people, set up coffee chats, all that sort of stuff. And that is exactly how I got actually both my internships.
Also, like once I applied to those jobs, I would then connect with like HR people on LinkedIn as well, so that they could kind of recognize my name. Like if they see my name a lot, then increases my chances.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I got my internship.
But then I actually try and find a point of contact at the company and send them my stuff. Like hey, I can do this work. Like, trust me, I can do this work. And beyond just, hey, this is a resume and it says I can do this work, actually, walking the walk a little bit. Because if you show your value to an employer, especially nowadays when the labor market's still really tight, they're gonna wanna invest in you because clearly you have some type of like follow up and process, and you look responsible in that way.
Yeah, so I leveraged my economics background, particularly the computational analysis part of it, pretty heavily for my interview for DHL, because they were looking for someone who had practical business knowledge, which you do learn as an economics major, but also was able to take a more deep dive into the numbers and statistics associated with running a warehousing business. And then I leveraged my economics background to get the job in Epic Systems by essentially demonstrating some of the skills that I have learned, some of the timelines that I've had to follow, and some of the groups that I have participated in and led throughout getting my degree. And I think they're really impressed by the wide range of topics that an economics degree does end up covering.
I think to be honest, I think during my interview, I actually used more of my experience as a resident assistant. Like I used more of my job experience as a resident assistant or my involvement in like my clubs like ASA or the African Students Association or SGA.
Well, so it really depends on the position because right now for the summer, I'm going to intern in consulting. So technology and management consulting, which is quite different from econ. But I would say one really big one that I feel like we economists like kind of tend to not think about that much is that it's really a way of thinking about problems in a really structured way. And that helps for, I mean, really, I feel like anything in life.
If you know what you want to do and it's not econ, don't hesitate to try to take some of those types of classes in college, and don't hesitate to try to get those types of internships. That's exactly what I kind of did and what led me to being a project manager upcoming soon, which is exactly what I wanted to do.
I think I finally, like I was trying at first to kind of go through the finance like track. But I think after getting some finance opportunities and like doing my research, I realized I actually didn't really like finance. I like more of like data analytics and like the econometrics and the coding part of economics. And then there's like the math part of economics that involves like theory and proof. So like there's just a lot of things. So I think, kind of exploring and just figuring out like early on, like, because I think early on I didn't know that I could have a concentration in economics. Like I didn't know like I would need to have a minor. So I think if I had known early on, I would have done more research from the beginning and found out what I was really interested in and what I wanted to focus on.
If you're an econ student and you're looking to get a master's degree, or you're looking to maybe even go down the PhD route, then definitely sharpen up those math skills. Because when you go to grad school or the PhD, it will be quantitative, it will be very intense math-wise. If you're looking to get into the industry, just kind of try to narrow down your search a bit before you start, because econ is so broad, and just really try to, I think it's always useful to kind of also analyze yourself. Look at what are the things that I'm actually good in within econ. You know, am I more on the data analysis side? Then maybe that's your path. If you're more, you know, towards the people side, fixing problems, interacting with clients, maybe you can even like make a shift towards something more consulting oriented or something. So looking at yourself and see how, you know, your skills can be applied as well.
If you do make mistakes in the field, immediately own it. I have some like, don't take it like the sky is falling. And the other thing I always told myself, especially during the pandemic, because I have a sister who's a doctor, she was working COVID ICU rounds, is the work I do, it does not save lives. It does not save lives. So never take it like super seriously. If you worked in the medical field, I'd be giving different advice. But with business, it's really about people and relationships and being genuine and giving it your best effort. And as long as you tell people, hey, I'm going to do this, and then you actually do it, you're going to have success.
To wrap this up, I've posted their LinkedIns on this last slide, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. They weren't only great students at UAH, but just great people. So if they can help you, they'll definitely do so. I want to give a big thanks to our alumni just for sharing their advice with us and spending their time to do that. So it's really appreciated. Again, if you guys need anything, feel free to contact me as well. With that, I just want to say good luck to you all.